Okay, we are going to try this again. It's Sandy McClure out of Creed, Colorado tonight, coming to you live with Dr. Lee Seward from Erie, Colorado. And I met Dr. Seward, one of the first people that I met as when we were first new to LifeVantage in Denver. And I tell you, there was just a great vibe and a great feeling coming from him. I knew I was in the right place. And I'll give you just a little bit of background on him. One of the things I love most about him is that he is a Vietnam veteran, and that I hold dear to my heart. So thank you, Dr. Lee, for that, for your service to our country. Invaluable. He's an amazing man. He's had a clinical practice at the very start of his veterinary career. He went to school at CSU, Fort Collins here in Colorado. But then he went into research, and he was in the Merck lab where I think that's where you developed HeartGuard. We're all familiar with HeartGuard, for pets. If you love your dog, you know about HeartGuard, and you're probably well into that. And then after that, I can't remember the next place that you went to, but you can share with that, Dr. Lee, where you did. But I know that you sit on the LifeVantage board, the scientific board, and so we are so blessed to have you. And I'm going to have you just let you take it from here and just introduce a little bit more of your background to give those of the people out there an idea of who we have here. It's not just some old Joe or even just a veterinarian who might have tried this, but somebody who really knows about Petandim and NRF2 and what we have our hands on.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Sandy, for having me this evening. I really appreciate being able to talk about my passion. I just love Petandim, and I love all the LifeVantage products. First, I just want to say, all of you that are in Sandy's team or considering joining Sandy's team, she is a special person. So I mean, I could probably spend most of the day, most of the session just talking about her, because it was a delight to meet her, like she said, and we just seemed to hit it off immediately. And then I heard her story and I realized here's a person that's had tremendous success in a number of fields. She was a championship coach at the high school level, teacher. She's been in other network marketings and been at the top of other network marketing company earners. She has met challenges in her life, challenges that most of us can't even imagine. And she's met those challenges and persevered and came through them. So she's a special person, very, very personable, very humble, and just a joy to be around. So I really appreciate Sandy, and I appreciate joining you guys tonight. As far as my background, as Sandy said, I got a bachelor's degree in zoology and my DVM from Colorado State University, and went on to private practice, and was able to go into Merck research labs at a time when they had some tremendous new chemistry coming into the labs for development into products. And so it was a right place, right time type of thing. So I did have the team that developed HeartGuard for dogs, and equoenzyme for horses, a number of other products for companion animals. And I also spent time in basic research in an effort to discover and develop another ivermectin for cattle, and we were successful in that, and that's called Eprinex, and is a major product in the cattle industry still. So after I left Merck, I joined another company, a startup company here in Colorado, spun out of Colorado State University, and that company was developing biologics and diagnostics, and I got involved in developing a product there to diagnose heartworm. And so a lot of different facets, a lot of different things I got to be involved with, and really blessed to, like I said, to be in the right place at the right time. So again, thank you, Sandy, for having me here.
Well, I'm telling you, it's our honor and our privilege. And I feel the same way about you. You know, I know that some of your people will be watching too. And Lee, I think that we were connected for a reason. You know, we just have the same kind of heart and desire to help people and to help animals for certain. And so that's kind of why we're here tonight, everyone. And I'm just going to just ask Lee a few questions. Clearly, he knows about all animals, not just dogs. Petandim is basically designed for dogs, but I'm going to let him take that to you. And if you are on this live webinar, I want you to comment, make a comment, say live from where you're at, so that you can be entered into a drawing to win a bottle of Petandim at the end of this. We like to bless our people that join us. So Lee, if I had a dog, and I do, and I do have my dog on Petandim, but why would we want to put our dog on Petandim, whether maybe our dog is healthy or maybe our dog isn't healthy? What would you say about putting a dog on Petandim?
It's a great question, and I think it gets down to the nitty gritty. Really, it just kind of covers the nitty gritty. And I'm going to tell you a story, and hopefully maybe even a couple of stories, and maybe that'll tell you why. When we joined LifeVantage in 2013, our dog Sheila, a dog we'd had for a long time, an extremely loyal rescue dog that we had. And my cat is acting up, wanting attention. So when we joined LifeVantage, she was nearing the end of her life, and it wasn't fun. It wasn't pretty for her. She had been the best pet ever. She was a mixed breed, border collie, Australian Shepherd, and probably something else. I think probably a setter of some kind. So we called her an Australian border setter. And so she was struggling and having difficulty. And it was at the point where, you know, you make, as a guardian of your pet, you have to make a decision. And one of the toughest decisions in having a pet is, what do you do when they have a horrible disease that has really ruined the quality of their life? And so we were having that debate when we were introduced to LifeVantage, and it just so happened that we were introduced to LifeVantage at the exact same time that Petandim was launched as a new LifeVantage product. Now, again, talk about right place, right time. And we put Sheila on Petandim, and she was at the stage where, and she had diseases that we were treating with other products. She was at the stage where she couldn't get up to go outside. I'd have to lift her up, take her outside to take care of her business. She was losing weight, had lost most of her hair, just horrible. And so put her on Petandim, and really within days, and then certainly within weeks, she started feeling better. Her movement got better, her mobility was better. She started being able to go outside on her own. Her hair coat started coming back. She started eating normally again. The joy was starting to return to her life. One night, a couple months after we put her on Petandim, she was able to get around again and return to almost her normal mobility. And I took her out. I was going out to feed the horses. Becky was gone. It was late in the evening, nighttime. Had the yard lights on, and went out there, and she was accompanying me, and she went around on her normal routine and her normal rounds of rabbit holes, etc., check things out. And she never wandered off. So she was doing her thing, and I was headed out to the barn. And all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I saw something move. I saw some movement, and I saw this fox run across the barnyard with Sheila in hot pursuit. And I'm telling you, her hair coat returned. In fact, I think it was the best I've ever seen it in her lifetime. Her muscle mass returned, and we, Rebecca and I, feel that we got certainly at least a year, maybe more, of quality time with that loyal and loved pet. And how fantastic is that? Is that a reason to use Petandim, or what? Second, she did eventually pass, and after a considerable period of grieving, a friend of ours did an intervention and got us another dog, a rescue. and completely opposite of anything we've ever had, and wasn't at all on our radar as a possible replacement. And it was a Chiweenie. So Hap the Chiweenie became our dog, and instantly when we got him, he was on Petandim. And he is a healthy, active, amazingly active and strong little dog. And here last March, I think it was, February, last December, he got brutally attacked by a neighbor's dog, vicious attack, seriously injured him. And I can just be thankful that he was in such good health, because he made it through that. He took some significant work at the teaching hospital at CSU to get him put back together, but he recovered rapidly and he is back to full normal. So, and that's because he's healthy. I mean, these kind of things, when they happen, if you aren't healthy, you're going to be in trouble. But he recovered rapidly, and everything healed rapidly, and so I'm really thankful. So there's two instances of illness and one of health where it's important. Of course, the health not only reflects on possibility of being injured and recovery, but it also has to do with your healthy lifespan, your health span. And this is Hap. Hap is very photogenic. He loves everybody, and everybody loves Hap. So that's it. But the bottom line is, there's nothing else like it to combat oxidative stress, and I can get into that more in a minute. But combating oxidative stress is a key, really, one of the strong keys to health and health span.
Well, that's a sweet story, and I think it means a lot to be able to see that dog as well, and I can vouch for it. My dog is a whole different dog. We had a rescue dog. We got this tiny little Chihuahua Terrier mix, 4 pounds, wiry, just sickly, and we brought her along. She was always cowering, very scared, very non-social, and we got her on Petandim a year ago, and her coat is beautiful. She runs and plays, and she isn't as scared as she was. She's just a whole different dog. We can just see the difference, and she's never had any health issues, but we want her around for a long time. And so I love that you shared that. It's the longevity, but what I love what you said is the quality of life. And Dr. Lee, we know that even as humans, we always hear this, well, it's all part of getting old. It's part of my genetics. It's just going to happen. And I think people feel the same way about animals too, that we all have to suffer the last years of our life. So, I know that there's, something that you're going to talk to us about the avian sternum cartilage. And I think that, that could tie into kind of what we're talking about right now, if you wanted to address that.
Sure. Well, first off, I'm sure you, all of you know, that Petandim has the same technology, the same ingredients as Protandim, Nerve2. So it is a Nerve2 activator, a very potent one, and it has the same synergistic combination of 5 natural ingredients that give it that Nerve2 activation and the ability to reduce oxidative stress. Proven in humans to reduce oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days, and even more the longer you take it, but also proven to reduce it in animals too, including dogs. So we know that part of it works, but a lot of times people kind of gloss over or don't realize that there are other ingredients in Petandim that are unique. One of them is avian sternum cartilage. And as Sandy mentioned, avian sternum cartilage is unique because in the form that it's used in Petandim, it is a patented ingredient that's proprietary to our product. And as such, it delivers glucosamine and chondroitin in a highly bioavailable form, much more so than products that use chondroitin and glucosamine that are sourced from shellfish, old discarded shellfish shells. crab soup, or from cartilaginous tissues from slaughter of animals. So that's where the majority of glucosamine chondroitin comes from. And they are not nearly as bioavailable, that is absorbable, as avian sternum cartilage. And in addition, avian sternum cartilage delivers type 2 collagen. And this combination has been proven in testing to support healthy joints. And that is something that not only is the manufacturer of this specific type 2 collagen product, avian sternum cartilage, able to say that, but Petandim is able to say that we support healthy joint function. So that's something that's very unique. There's products that have glucosamine and chondroitin, and there's lots of products that have that, but they don't. There's very few products that have the avian sternum cartilage and type 2 collagen that we have.
And Lee, I think that's why I am so amazed at the people who reach out to me and we get their pets on Petandim, that they notice that right away, the mobility, that so much they've tried everything else, and the mobility of their animals to almost instantly. And the best part about it is a dog doesn't have placebo effect. So we know this is truly happening. So there are other things out there. You just said what sets us apart. But I think that's one of the most incredible, most impactful things that we've noticed with our friends is their animals are just, it's
very, very common observation, Sandy. I thank you. I hear it time after time after time from people that they've seen results more rapidly in their dog than they've experienced it themselves. And that's the same for Rebecca, my wife and I, that we saw it in Sheila much quicker and more dramatic than we saw it in ourselves. And I do believe that you're right. I think that it's the combination of those 5 herbs that are the Petandim Nerve 2 technology combined with that avian sternum cartilage and the high quality human grade fish oil delivering omega-3s. So it's a unique combination. There's nothing else like it with those ingredients. And I think there's a reason why you see the response so quickly. And I believe it's that combination. And I call it the genius of Petandim, is the addition of that avian sternum cartilage and the omega-3 fatty acids.
Well, I'm going to believe you because you've been around this a lot longer than I have, and you have been exposed to numerous things. I mean, your research is your gig. You know, you've done that, and I think that you're like me. You're not willing to just put anything into your body. You're definitely not willing to just put anything into your pet's body or your grandchild's body. Like for me, my whole family's on the NRF2. Not just my human family, but our horses, who are basically pasture ornaments now, but we want them to have quality life. We've seen them bucking and kicking around the pasture, and we haven't seen that as of late. So can you kind of touch on a little bit of the horse?
Sure. Well, yes. The systems in animals at the cellular level are essentially the same systems as they are in humans. Now, genetic expression and how it manifests itself may be somewhat different from animal to animal, but in the biochemistry at the cellular level is the same. So the activation of NRF2 is the same in horses as it is in dogs, as it is in humans. So yes, but one of the things that you notice differently is because for a number of reasons, the absorption and the dosage that may be active in one species versus another may be dramatically different, just because it's processed differently in that particular animal. And my cat is deciding to tear things up again. So anyway, this is Domino, another rescue. Who would think a veterinarian would have a long-haired black cat living in the house? But anyway, so yes, in horses, a lot of things having to do with the same issues that we as humans experience as far as feeling better, having a better attitude, improvement in our mobility, improvement in their cognitive function, all those things, I should say, support of normal movement and normal function, cognitive function. We noticed in our horses, particularly one of our horses that was particularly anxiety prone, that she was better. She had a better attitude. She was easier to be around when you're on the ground around her. And those of you that are horse people, you all know what I'm talking about. She was not particularly food aggressive, but she was pretty worried when she was around her food bunk, because she'd been in a situation before we got her where she probably had to stand up for herself to get enough to eat. But anyway, she was one that, because she was dancing around him so much and so active when you were around her, feeding her and stuff, that you had to watch out. She wasn't trying to hurt you. That's just the way she was. But we noticed once we started her on Petandim NRF2 that she became much less anxious and much easier to live with. So again, it's a health issue, and it's a normalization of her body systems that made her improve.
Yeah, and we're hearing that, I said we have pasture ornaments. Our horses are, are retired, as Randy would say, they're retired. I call them pasture ornaments. They're pretty. But there are some very high quality horses they're athletic horses who are on NRF2. They're activated. And we've actually spoken with some of those people who have those, then I'm just going to say high dollar horses where you have to, they are performance horses. And so this is just like for humans, it's for everyone. It's every mammal, every live person, animal should probably be taking or be exposed to the NRF2 activation. Would you agree, Dr. Lee?
You bet. We do our best to get some in our cat Domino, and our cat we had before her. We did our best to get it in there too. So obviously it's difficult. Some cats are easier than others, but it's difficult to get it into them. Some cats, ours is in that category, but she does get it, and we think it's important. That's important for the quality of her life. And I, one of the things I always tell people is that, like, why use it in your dogs? Like, why use it in Hap? Well, Hap has so much joy. He enjoys his life, and that joy of life translates from him to us. So we're the beneficiaries of that. I don't know if any of you have seen it yet, but LifeVantage put in their blog page on National Dog Day a piece that I wrote about NRF2, oxidative stress and NRF2 activation in dogs. So those of you that have access to that, or Sandy can help you get access to it, that gives you a little more detail about this whole issue of what the benefits are of putting your dog on Petandim, and those same benefits, or those same type of issues are throughout the animal kingdom, really.
Mm-hmm. And so, just as a point of clarification for those of you who are watching, we give NRF2, the pill that we take, the yellow pill, we give that to our horses, and we give Petandim to our dog. And if we had a cat, we give it to our cat too. Now, here's the thing, Dr. Lee, we have to kind of hide it in the horse's grain. And we also have to disguise it for Bella, because Bella's not a fan of the chewable tablet. So she only needs a half a tablet per day. So I cut that tablet, and then I break it down into smaller pieces, and I disguise it in Philadelphia cream cheese, because there was a brilliant man who told me that was the best way to do that. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. There are a number of dogs that even though we have a highly palatable chewable tablet to deliver Petandim, there's always going to be some dogs that isn't the flavor of their choice. So you may have to do something like Sandy was talking about and disguise it. And some people use peanut butter, and people use butter, and some people use this, that, or the other thing, cheese of various kinds. But this is really secret information that you have to, it's closely held, that if you want something that really is palatable to disguise tablets or anything in, over the years, I found that Philadelphia brand cream cheese is the top of the list when it comes to being something to disguise things for your dog. And I've had some people say it didn't work, but I tell you what, that's rare. So the problem is now you can't use generic. You're going to have to use Philadelphia brand cream cheese, none of the cheap stuff. So anyway, that's what she's referring to.
See how much I just love you, Dr. Lee. I just swear to goodness. Anyway, well, with that, everybody's heard this, with your background, if you told me, because whatever you told me to do, I'm going to do because I trust you. Number one, I trust you because of the person you are, your integrity. But number two, your background. And if you're sitting here telling me that you're using this for your animals with your background, and that you're putting this activation in your body and for your wife to put it in her body, I'm taking it because I trust you. So that maybe answers that last question I had, is how do we know that Petandim is safe and effective?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. And that's something that comes up, and it frequently comes up when people are talking to their veterinarian or to an animal health professional of some kind. And it's interesting because there's lots of products being used out there, supplements, et cetera, that don't have the type of information that we have. We actually have a clinical study that was done in Arizona, actually in 2 separate practices. It was a double-blind study. Actually, I say it's a triple-blind study, in that the dog owners or guardians, as I call them, the actual investigators that were doing the study, and the third, the dogs, didn't know which dogs were receiving placebo and which dogs were receiving Petandim. And in that study, there was, I believe, something that started with 80 dogs, if I remember right. But anyway, the bottom line is, in that study, there was no indication of any problems with the product. And there was some significant results that had to do with the amount of catalase and the increase in catalase in the measurements. That's one of the enzymes at the cellular level that the ingredients activate, and that enzyme is one of the key ones in reducing oxidative stress, and that was increased by a significant level. Other things that indicate improvement in oxidative stress, reduction in T-bars, just like the study for humans was seen, et cetera, et cetera. But in addition, the owners noticed that even though they didn't know which dogs were on the active and Petandim and which were getting placebo, the owners noticed remarkable improvement in their dogs, in particularly mobility, but also in restoration of cognitive function in those dogs that were getting old. So we know it worked, and we know it was safe in that study. But even more so, the product was launched in 2013, and over the whatever that is, coming on 8 years, there's been tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of doses administered to all kinds of dogs in all kinds of situations in several countries in the world, and there's yet to be any indication of a toxic response. Besides that, the ingredients in Petandim are all known to be safe, and the product itself was formulated by a well-known formulator of animal health products and a veterinarian who I had the pleasure of meeting and talking to. So there's all kinds of people that had a lot of stake in making sure that we had a safe and effective product, and we sure in heck got one, that's for sure.
Well, and that's one of the things that drew me, Dr. Lee, to LifeVantage as a whole for myself, because I have been through some pretty major things in my life. And again, as I said before, I'm very careful what I put into my body. And so that safety is number one in LifeVantage. And the fact that that this is researched and there's scientific evidence, there's studies that aren't even funded by LifeVantage. That's the best thing. You know, we have universities and institutions all around who are looking at our products and they're fascinated by them. And I think there's some people out there who are even trying to come up with what we have. Of course they can't. What we have is patented. You won't get it from anywhere else. But there's just nothing quite like what we have here at LifeVantage.
Exactly right, Sandy. Not only that is that it's so rare. One of the things that struck me when I was introduced to this is that there were actual clinical data in humans and in dogs with the actual product that we use, is the branded product. And most supplements don't have that. They have ingredient studies that may or may not have any relevance to their actual product. The ingredients that they refer to in the scientific literature may not have come from the same area, may not have been processed the same. The dose may have been different in the studies that were done. So most of the time, those ingredient studies are irrelevant unless special care was taken. And these people didn't do those studies. They're just referring to what's already in the literature. So I think LifeVantage struck me as being very special and that it had the kind of information and data to support their products. It's amazing.
Well, I think so too. And I'm just a plain old person. I don't have the background that you have, and I'm blown away. So if you're blown away, that makes me feel even better that it really caught my attention. You know, if it wasn't for LifeVantage, Lee, I would never have met you. And I feel like that is the biggest blessing that I'm getting from all of this, is coming into contact with just people of unbelievable integrity. And just, I can't wait to spend more time with you, hike a few mountains and just have some life with you. Just been such a pleasure meeting you and your wife, Becky, and now your animals I'm getting to see. and you know, for those of you who are on the live video tonight, make sure that you comment in the comments where you're from, because we are going to be giving away a couple bottles of Petandim. And Lee, I know you've got a busy week ahead of you, so I want to thank you once again for taking time out of your busy schedule to just share with us what you know, these products have done for you, for your let's see if I can gallery view. Well, I'm just going to go back to speaker. So that you know, sharing what these products have done for all of us in general. I think it's so important that that's why we do take the time, because we want to share everything we know.
Thank you so much for having me, Sandy. And you know, I really appreciate you, and I am looking forward to you know, getting together and hopefully LifeVantage allows us to get together at a meeting here in the not too distant future. But in the meantime, I just enjoy being around you so much. You're just such a great person, so I appreciate that. And I just want to say to everybody, I hope you have a great day, great weekend, and that your pets bring you as much joy in life as mine bring me.
I think that'll happen if we all stay activated, Lee. Thanks again. You have a wonderful night. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye-bye.